Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf. Hayemi Meseches NIDAH Daf Samach. We begin at the Mishnah, which is on Talmud Bavli, 8 lines from the bottom. Okay, back to the Isha who discovered a stain on her garment. As we learned many times, the Chachamim allowed for something called a Taliyah. You can attribute, you could link, you can blame the stain on an alternate source of dam and absolve yourself, provided that Taliyah is plausible. Here comes another example. Rachel had a garment which she had loaned on Sunday to a guy, took it back on Monday and wore it, discovered a stain. Whose stain is it? Or she loaned it to a woman who's experiencing dam. She's a NIDAH. She's fully allowed to be toilet the stain on those women. Rashi explains, in order to make a Taliyah in this type of case, it has to be attributed to somebody whose status will not be affected. It's not going to be to that person's detriment. It's consistent with their experience. So if the other person's a NIDAH, Rachel can say, look, in any case, Tamei, you're presumed to have dam today. It's consistent with your experience, with your status. Let me blame it on you. Likewise, a Nachris, who's always considered Tamei, it's a halachically valid Taliyah. In this case, we have the same garment worn successively by 3 women. Sunday by Rachel, Monday by Leah, Tuesday by another woman. After which they discovered a stain. Whose stain is it? Or another example, they sat on the same bench. They find a stain. They all have to take the blame upon themselves until they can confirm whose dam it is. Now that's if they sat on a wooden bench. What if it was a stone bench? Or some sort of stone platform in the bathhouse, which is immune to tumah, because stone and it's not makabel tumah. In this case, there's no stain concerns either. He says that Torah Shahaya, as he would teach us, it has to be consistent. An item which is not open to be makabel tumah is also not open to accept, to be receptive to the effect of a stain. Let's recall that Minat Torah, a woman has to have hargash, a personal feeling, sensation, as she experiences the dam. Chacham added, even just discovering a stain makes her a tamei. So since the stain in this case is the starting point of the tumah to the isha, it was only applied to a stain which has status. You see, the dam of an isha has a twofold effect. It's matama the woman as a NIDAH, and also the dam itself conveys tumah to something that it touches. In this case, since the dam sitting on the bench is not going to affect the bench, it's a stone bench, so the stain is sort of discounted. In that respect, we discount it completely, and she's unaffected. Amarav, back to the beginning of the Mishnah, where you're blaming the stain on a guy. Now, at what point is the guy? Underage, not expected to see dam, of age, expected to see dam, or of age and has already experienced actual dam. Amarav, level 3. Benachris, haraya. We turn to the next Talmud. Mimai, how do we know? Tumid NIDAH, says Rav. Look, the Mishnah pairs it up with a NIDAH. We matched it to Ma NIDAH d'chka chazia, just like a NIDAH is certainly experiencing. Likewise, the guy that we could blame it on is only one who had experienced dam. So according to Rav, coming of age and having potential, that's not enough to blame it on her. D'chka chazia, she has to have actually seen dam. She has to have that experience as well. And now, you can attribute the stain to her. Amar Sheshes. Hard to believe that Rav really said this when he was fully focused. Considering Rav's heightened standards of scholarship, it certainly was sort of a unintended remark. Amar Rav Sheshes Kinai Mishachav Rav. I bet you when Rav was dozing and sleeping, Amar Shmaita, that's when he made this statement, because I'll prove to you from a brisa that nobody requires level 3. The Sanya Toila Benachris, Tanakama says you can blame the stain on a Goisha woman. It's not enough to have any Goisha young woman. She has to at least come of age. come of an adult to have potential periods. And that allows us to blame it on her. And even Rav Meir's machmer only requires the age factor, level 2, but not level 3, age and experience. Right? Even he doesn't require level 3. Amar Rava, well, hold it. How could you suggest that that's the correct understanding of the Brisa, which will turn out that Rav Meir is being machmer? Contrast to Tanakama suffices with level 1, he requires level 2. Rav Meir Kula, actually Rav Meir from a different Brisa, we see he's being lenient on this matter. The Sanya, Tanakama says you can't blame the guy on the stain. Rav Meir, totally you could. So Rav Meir is actually being lenient. So how do you explain the first Brisa, which seems to indicate that Rav Meir is being machmer? Oh, so now we're going to revise our understanding of the Brisa, which will actually make it consistent with Rav's level 3 requirement. El Tritzachi, V'Yisharoya. Tanakama requires level 3. And that's the understanding of the second Brisa. Tanakama says you can't blame it on the guy unless she's holding at level 3, which is exactly what Rav told us. To which Rav Meir responds with leniency, no, level 2 is enough. Even though she's not arrived at level 3. Okay, so conclusion, could you blame the stain on a guy? Underage, for sure not. Overage, with experience, for sure, yes. What if someone in the middle? She's of age to see but hadn't yet experienced dam? Tanakama says no. Rav Meir says yes. Next item is a NIDAH. So if she is experiencing dam, and in the thick of things, dam NIDAH, in the 7 days, of course you can blame it on her. But let's say she's merely a Shemer Siyam, which means during the 11 days of Ziva, she had 1 day of sighting, let's say Sunday. Now, Monday is so far so good, which is going to count as the clean day. Get her out of Sunday's experience. Allows her to be table tonight. Now, it is that second day, it's Monday, when this stain was discovered. Can you blame it on her? Technically, she's still Tameh, so it's consistent with her status, but you're setting her back a day, because now she's going to have to cancel Monday and start again on Tuesday, hoping for a clean day. You can do that, even though it's b'shein shalom. Or let's say she had 3 days of ziva, which requires a 7-day clean count. She's already done her 7 days, but she hadn't yet been tevel. Fact is, she's still tamei. You can blame it on her, even though you're setting her back in a big way. That's the first opinion in the Brisa. So the outcome is himatukenes. Rachel, the owner of the garment, has been spared, tumah v'chavertum kulkelas, but that complicates Leah's life. And the reason it gets because the fact is Leah is still holding on to her tumah, even though she's partially out of the woods, and you're going to set her back, but it is consistent with her halachic status of tumah. Rabbi, you have no way, you have no right to do that. You can't blame it on Leah and set her back. And therefore the end result is, if it cannot be attributed to either one conclusively, they both have to reckon for it. They both presume themselves to be tamei because of this uncertainty. Now all agree. If it's still Sunday, the day that Leah saw dam, of course you can blame it on her, because today is her day of sighting. It's very consistent with her experience. Or alternatively, let's say it's a woman after birth. She's experiencing the dam of tahara. So blaming the stain on her won't actually have any effect on her whatsoever. So why not blame it on her? Or newlywed who had not experienced the period ever, so the dam is now attributed to the makkah of the psulim. So again, there's no harm by blaming the stain on her. Okay, so she's a bona fide NIDAH, blame it on her. On the other hand, if she's experiencing dam toyer, no problem. Besula, the metar, no problem. Achlekes will be in a case of Shemer Shem Keneged Yom on her second day, on which she hadn't yet experienced dam, but she's still tamei. Or if it's counting 7 days before tefillah. Rebbe says you can't blame it on her, whereas Rav Shimon Leil says you could. And lefichach said Rav Shimon Leil, the owner of the garment Rachel is spared, and Leah is tamei. Is there any added point in presenting that conclusion? Lefichach? It sounds a bit redundant. Lefichach, Rav Shimon Leil, Lamali. Why do you have to conclude with that? I mean, it's pretty elementary. If you say blame it on her, then you're okay, and she's not. Shem the Rebbe, on account of the fact that Rebbe said it, so Yosef said it. So why did Rebbe have to say it? It's also pretty obvious. If you can't blame it on her, then both have to take the blame. Well, there's room to think. Who says Rachel has to take the blame? Fact is, who says Leah has to take the blame? Fact is, Rachel discovered the stain when it was already back in her possession. So let's assume it's likely that, look, he discovered it under her care, probably came from her. But it shouldn't affect Rachel, who wore it yesterday. Kamashman, the point is, yes. Until you can substantiate the actual source, they both have to reckon with it. So in conclusion, can you be Toila and NIDAH? Of course. Shemer Hashem Kinegdem on her first day? Yes. Dam Toyar? Yes. Basul? Yes. What about Shemer Hashem on her second day? Or once she counted 7 days prior to Tefillah, subject to Machlekes. Rabbi says you can't blame it on her. The fact is, she has an element of Cheskas Tahara. She's already out of the wood. She hasn't seen Dam for a while, so you can't blame it on her. Whereas Rabbi Shmuel says the fact is, she's still experiencing her tumah, still lingering, and it's likely to have come from her. Amar Rav Chizda, in a similar case, we will have a same machlekes, Tamei v'Tar. A similar case, but on a different matter entirely. Instead of Tumas Nida, we're talking about Tumas Mei. So we have two pathways on the road. One is known to be Tumah free, one has Tumah there. And we have two people who walked on those paths. Tamei v'Tar, Reuben is known to be Tamei from before. V'Tar, Shimon is known to be Tar. And they walked on these two paths. We're not sure who walked on what. Shalcha b'shnei shvilin. One of which is Echad is Tar, and one of the pathways is Echad Tamei. Question: can Shimon blame the Tumah on Reuben and say, "Oh, most likely you walked on the Tamei pathway"? Banu l'machlokes. Oh, it links up to the same machlokes between Rebbe, Rabban, Shimon Gamliel. So here as well, Rebbe will say, "Look, you can't blame it on the Tamei." And Ram Shmuel says you could. Now Tosfos points out that this Tamei, Reuven, is already partially out of his woods. He's already middle of counting his 7 days with the paraduma. So it's similar to the case of the woman on Monday, on the second day of her Shemer Yisrael, who's already started counting, etc. Therefore, Rav Chizda lines it up. Just like over there we have machlokes, whether you can blame it on her, here as well. Maskala Rav Ada questioned this alignment. Look, Ad kan like Rebbe Hasim. I'll tell you why Rebbe, in the case of the stain, does not allow Rachel to blame the stain on Leah on her second day. Elo de Taravai, because both Rachel and Leah are both experiencing a blood-free day, a Cheskas Tahara day. Elo de Taravayu Ki'adad Dininu. They're both on the same plane to a certain extent. So what right do you have to blame it on her? My nafkal on me. No, but here, the fellow is still in the thick of Tumah. He hasn't really counted his Shiva Nakiyim, so it doesn't really matter, meaning it's consistent with his status. He responds, no, Saif, eat Tefillah Boya. He says it's a good lineup, the two cases, because after all, even the woman on Monday, true, she hadn't seen Dam today, but she's still short Tefillah, meaning she's fully Tamei. Still, Rebbe insists on not blaming it on her, because once she started the process, you can't set her back. Likewise over here, you can't attribute the tumah to the fellow who's already begun cleansing himself, despite the fact that he's tumah. Itma, Amar Reis V'Chanina, Tamei v'Tar, Afilu Tar v'Tali. So Reis V'Chanina will actually be aligned with Rab Ada, that in this case of the two pathways, all agree. Even Rebbe would agree, you can blame it on the Tamei. And he elaborates further. He says, Tamei v'Tar, Reuben is Tamei, Shimon is Tar, Afilu Tar v'Tali. And even if you have a fellow who's Tar, walking alongside a fellow who's not sure whether he's Tamei, still you can blame it on him. Shalchu b'shnei shvilin, they walked on these two pathways, Echad Tamei v'Echad Tar, right? Toila Tamei v'Tali. Toila Tar, they changed it. Tar v'Tali. So the fellow who's Tamei, the fellow who's Tar, can blame the Tumah, Toila, Tamei v'Tali. You can take the Tumah, so to speak, and blame it on the fellow who's not sure. V'tor. Right, so basically you have one pathway which is Tamei. Toila, Tamei B'tali. You take the Tamei pathway. It depends how you word it, but the way it's written in the Gemara, Toila Tali B'tamei, will take the pathway which is Tamei and blame it on the fellow who's not sure and make him confirm his Tumah. After all, he was somewhat Tamei, so push him over the top. V'tar, and the pathway which is Tamei free, V'tar. Attribute that to the fellow who's Tar. In this way, they both maintain their status, the Berakol, according to all opinions. It's not subject to machlekes. All agree you can do so. Okay, so in conclusion, we have a case of Tliya on a woman whose Shemer Shem Kineg Diyayim B'Sheni Shalot. So she had dam on Sunday, and Monday she's hoping for a clean day. Can we attribute the dam to her today? She's technically Tamei, but she already has a Chaskas Tahara. She hadn't seen dam today, but she hadn't yet been Toivel, so it's sort of somewhere in the middle. Rabbi says we have no right to do that, and therefore both women have to take the blame. What Shmuel says, look, the fact is she's still Tamei, blame it on her. We had a similar story with the two pathways, and the question was whether we can line up the stories. According to Rav Chizda, it's a perfect lineup. Same machlekes would apply here as well, according to the other opinions. In this case, all would agree that you can attribute it to the other fellow, versus the previous case by the woman, who is different. According to Rebbe, the fact is, today she has Chaskas Tahara, you have no right to blame it on her. Continues the Gemara. So we speak about Rachel, the owner of the garment, who retrieved it on Monday from Leah, who wore it on Sunday. And now she discovers a stain on this garment that she wore today. Whose is it? Rachel's from today, or Leah's stain from yesterday? So if Leah was a bona fide NIDAH, etc., of course, blame it on her. What if Leah never really experienced a true flow? She became Tamei due to discovering a kesem in the past on her garment. So technically she's Tamei, and perhaps that would allow for attribution of this stain to her as well. Or on the other hand, you can say, look, she hasn't really established herself as a established source of dam, because she merely saw a kesem. So who says we can blame this stain on her as well? Boy b'nei Rabbi Yochanan, he asked Rabbi Yehuda bar Levi, Mao litles, can we attribute kesem of today, bekesem, to a woman who had merely become Tamei due to finding a kesem? Now, I'll leave it to Rebbe Tibaylach. According to Rebbe's position of before, certainly there's no question you can't blame it on her. Why? Look, in the case of Rebbe, where you're trying to attribute a stain to Leah, who's on day 2 of her count, right? She married Shem Keneged Yayim. Now, in that case, in a way, it's stronger because she had seen dam yesterday. It's just that today she hadn't seen dam, but yesterday she had seen a true flow. Still, you say, back off. Certainly, if in that case, the Kochazim Megufa, when she saw personal dam yesterday on Sunday, Amr, you say, Eino Toilaba, you can't blame it on her, because it's already Monday, she's already partially out of the woods. Here, where the other woman at most saw a stain which could have come from herself, there's also a chance it could have come from elsewhere. We're not sure. Okay, we're matami her. But certainly you can't claim that she established herself as a source of dam. Like Koshkin, certainly according to Rebbe, you can't blame the stain on her. Okay, so according to Rebbe, it's a given. The answer is no. The question will apply to the other shita, who says you can be toila on a shemer asiyim on her second day. On the one hand, hasum the kochazim gufa talia, hachadam alma kaasi loy talia. You can argue the difference. Over there, sure, today she hadn't seen, but yesterday, Sunday, she saw a proper flow migufa. That allows us to attribute it to her. But hacha here by the woman who merely saw a stain, the ma'alma ka'asila, could have come from elsewhere. They tell you can't blame it on her. You can say no, as long as it's plausible that this stain came from her. Why? Because fact is, she already has somewhat of a track record. She saw a stain and she became tamei. So it's similar to the case of the Isha on the second day of Shemeres Yom, where although she hasn't seen dam today, but she's already on that track. She has experience from yesterday. That's enough for Itzliya. Omar Leis, he says, the answer to your question is no. Ein toilet, according to all opinions, you can't. So again, we discovered a stain today. You can't blame it on the woman who's already tummy due to a previous stain. My tam, you know why? The ein toilet, who's you can't. And it sounds like a redundancy, but some explain. Pirush Kabbalahi, Kach b'nei Adam. That's an established tradition, an established halacha. The fact is, the other woman merely had a stain on her record. She's not considered an established source of dam, which only that allows for attribution. Ain't it? He asked him a question, really? We have a brayso which begins sounding very similar. Ein toilen kesem bekesem. We can't blame this kesem on the other woman who had a kesem. The brayso continues to describe how you could link the kesem to the woman with the stain. Hishila chalukin nachos. So Rachel had loaned her garment to a Goyisha woman, or to a woman who's already tummy because of a kasem. Harezu toilaba. She can be toila on her. So first we have to resolve this seeming contradiction between part 1, which says you can't, and part 2 of the brayso, which says you could. Hogavakash is inherently difficult to understand. Reisha, you began by saying ein toil. Amris ein toil, you can't be toila in this case. And Seifa Amris toila, and in section B you say you could. Hagakasha, for that we're going to answer like this. Ha Rebbe, v'ha Rav Shimon Gamliel. It's going to tie up to the previous machlekes. According to Rebbe, who says that it's more difficult to attribute, Taliyah to women who are tamei. For instance, in the Shemeres Yom, he says, look, she's not actively seeing dam, you can't blame it on her. Likewise, he will not allow Taliyah by a kesem, because again, that woman who had a kesem is not an established source of dam. It's not enough for us to attribute today's stain to her. Whereas the second part of the brayso, which indicates you can blame a kesem on a balas ha-kesem, that's the other shita which says it's easier to make Taliyahs as long as she has some, linkage to dam. It's enough for it. Ikadam, there's another way to resolve. Havaha Rebbe. Both sections of the brayso reflect shitas Rebbe, and really you can be toila in a balas ha-kesem. Habarishan shalah. Part 1 of the brayso is speaking that she's a Shemeres Yom. It's her first. The second part of the brayso, which says you can be toila in a balas ha-kesem. That's on her first day. She just saw the kesem today, so she's actively seeing it's enough for Italy. Whereas the first part of the brayso, which says you can't, that's on her second day. On Monday, which she hadn't yet experienced dam, you have no right to link it to her. Rabbi Ashi Amar, a third explanation. Both sections of the brayso are aligned with Rav Gamliel, who typically makes it easier to attribute the dam to the other woman. But like Kash answers like this. Depends on what you're trying to do. So again, Rachel had this garment. She loaned it to Leah on Sunday and took it back on Monday and wore it, and then discovered the stain. The 2 questions really: going back in time, what we do, and going forward, what we do. When Isha discovers a stain, which is confirmed to be from herself, she's telling me not only going forward, but also going back 24 hours, etc. So regarding Sunday, Kalam Afreya. So regarding yesterday, regarding going back in time, certainly we can attribute the kesem to Leah. The fact is, she was wearing it on Sunday, and Sunday by her was a day of dam. She's not really complicating matters for her. Kalaba. Whereas the first part of the brisa, which doesn't allow blaming it on the other woman, it's speaking going forward, from Monday onward. Right? Once Rachel got back the garment, what happens? They're on it. They're on it, and you can't blame it on Leah, because you're going to be complicating matters for her. You're going to be sending her back by making her tummy today as well, without any evidence. So here, Rachel must take the blame. Okay, so we resolved the brisa, which seemed to be contradictory. When do we blame? When do we not blame? Whether it's a difference of Rebbe and Shimon Gamliel, or both going like Rebbe, depending if it's the first day or the second day, or both going to Shimon Gamliel. Depends if you're complicating her going forward. It was just retroactive, in which case she was already tummy on Sunday. Okay, fine. But in any case, the brisa seems to teach us that, in general, in concept, you can attribute a stain to another woman who merely had a stain on her record, and no more. And that's a kasha on the shita of Rabbi Yehuda bar Levoy, who says you can't. Tzliya is only on a woman who had an established period, in which case it's likely that she produced more dam, but merely a balas al-kesem, you have no right to blame it on her. Amar Avina, here comes a fourth shot in the brisa, which will resolve it in a satisfactory manner, in line with that shita. Amar Avina loikash. Here comes the brisa, here comes my explanation. The brisa means like this. We have to sort of revise our understanding and perhaps the wording. We're not speaking about blaming it on a woman who merely had a stain. You found the stain, you want to blame it on another woman. A regular woman. She loaned her chaluk to a guy. Kama. Ba'alas kasam. So the one who found the stain today will blame this stain on that woman. So we thought that we're blaming it on a woman who had a stain. No, we're blaming it on a regular woman, a guy, or right? It's your stain that you want to blame on her. That's okay. But look back in the brisa. So you want to blame it on a guy or on one who is tamei due to discovery of a stain. It sounds like you're blaming it on a person who merely had a stain. Not that you're blaming your stain on a regular woman. The brisa means like this. So if you loaned it to a woman who's after birth, who has dam tahara, kama, balas kesem toilaba. So Rachel discovered a kesem on her baggage, can attribute that kesem to the balas dam toyar, who's experiencing a full flow of dam. But in terms of blaming it on a person who merely has a stain to her record, who says you can do that? Shalosh shalav shabachu. Shayr mechem oimevachu. Mechem concludes the Mishnah by saying, look, a kesem discovered on material which is resistant to tumah, that kesem has no effect. Amar Masna, my time, where's he coming from? The pasuk says, "Nix la'aretz teishev." This talking about the churban, that the galus, the churban, or Hamikdash brings us down to the ground. Nix la'aretz teishev. So we learn from here. And of course, it's only an asmach, that's a hint, because let's realize the whole halacha of ksamim is only the rabbanim. Now, Torah, you have to have an actual flow to be tamei. So the whole idea of ksamim is the rabbanim. Certainly, the guidelines of ksamim, the condition of having it on something which is makabel. So it's only the rabbanim. It's just an asmach, that's a hint. Kimash yash la'aretz niksa. Once she sits on the ground, she's free of tumah, which means to say that even if you find a stain on the ground is tumah free, and therefore she's unaffected. Amar Rav Huna, Amar B'chanina. To what extent do we apply this tumah resistant, kesem resistant rule? Mitai hayra nechemi would absolve even afilu b'achar klei cheres. If you find a stain on the back of a kli cheres, she's torah because the back of a kli cheres is resistant to tumah. In contrast to the inside, which is makabel tumah, right? By a kli cheres, in contrast to other materials where it can transmit, it can receive tumah on the inside or the outside. By kli cheres, the outside, the back is resistant. Some explain the kli cheres is only valued based on its functionality, on its content, on its ability to contain, which is on the inside, rather than the actual value of the material itself, which is not really valuable. So from the outside, it's not the place of use. There's no tumah, there's no usage, there's no function, there's no identity. So likewise, a kesem found there is ineffective. Pshita, well, of course, if it's a place that has no tumah, why would I think it's... well, on the table, perhaps there's room to think, ligzor gabay totoiche, we should apply tumah even on the back, concerned that it might get confused with the inside. It's so close. Kamashmal, the answer is no. We stick to our rules. It needs to be on something which is actively mekabel tumah. Amar Abaye, furthermore, let's say you have the right material, but it's small in size, which makes it tumah free. That also qualifies as a tumah free surface. Metayr b'chemya, your b'chemya would be metayr b'metlanias, in these little patches. Shein b'hem shalosh shalosh, materials which are less than 3 finger width by 3 finger width, which have no ability to mekabel tumah leichazor, which are not fit for use. Not for poor people for their patches on their clothes, too small. But certainly not for wealthy. It's tumah free. It's kesem free. Okay, so we have 3 examples of this halacha. One is, let's say, a stone bench discussed in the Mishnah. Next, even a klicheres, which technically is on the tumah track, but since it's on the outside, the outer surface, it's resistant and it resists the kesem as well. And the third case is, even if you have the proper material on the right side, but if it's too small, it's lacking in the shiur, which makes it non-functional, that too is kesem resistant. Darash Rav Chia Barav Mas Mishmei, he quoted the Rav. Halacha, Kiram Nechemya, that if the kesem discovered on something which is tummy free, it's kesem free. Amalei Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman responded, Abba, my father Tani, he presented a brisa which indicates otherwise. Masa bo chachamim, such an incident was presented to chachamim, v'timum, and they applied to him, even though it was on a tummy-free surface. V'at amras, and you're going to say halach Nechemya? That we go to Nechemya, typically when it's the multitude against the individual. Halacha kerabim. Mahi, what's the brisa? The sanya shtei noshim sheyutoichens b'rechaim shal yad. We have 2 women grinding on this hand grinder. So they're standing side by side. And they discovered a stain beneath the inner woman. So we have the grinder, let's say to the left, to the right of which we have a pnimis, the woman that's closest. And to the right of her we have another woman who's a chitzayna, a little bit further out. We find the stain on the inside area. Shtein tmeis, they both have to accept tumah upon themselves, since we can't really confirm the source. Tachal chitzayna. Whereas if you find it beneath the outside one, she's only tamei. The inner one is okay. Rashi explains because it is common for the outer one to sort of push away a bit inward. So even though you found the stain on the inside area, it could have come from the outer one. But if you find it on the outside, only she's tamei, but the inner one is Torah. Ben time, you find it between, they're both affected. There was a story. They discovered dam on the lip of the rim of the bathtub, and on a olive leaf, which is not mekabel tumah, right? When they were heating up the oven, Chacham decided that they're tamei, despite the fact that the stain was discovered on an in-ground facility, or olah shel zayis. These are not materials which have the ability to mekabel tumah. Says the Gemara Tanoi. In fact, it's machlekes Tanoim in terms of the identity of Rav Nechemya's disputants. So according to the previous brisa, it would seem like there is a rabbim, there's a consensus against him. Whereas in the next brisa, we find that it's just 1 against 1. The son Rabbi Yaakov metami, Rabbi Nechemya metari. Rabbi Yaakov says tami, Nechemya says tar. So it's really a yochad against a yochad. V'hoyru chachamim ki Rabbi Nechemya, and the chachamim paskind like Rabbi Nechemya that in fact the machlekes is only between Nechemya and Rabbi Yaakov, so it's 1 against 1. And the Chacham in general did go to Rav Nechemya. Hence, Rav's conclusion is that the halacha follows Rav Nechemya as well. Okay, so in conclusion, a kesem is metame the isha provided. So if it's sitting on a davar mekabel tumah, certainly. What about any mekabel tumah? It's machlokes. Rav Nechemya says toher, and that is the halacha that Rav paskin like. It says the Mishnah, shalosh noshim. Shoyishenes mita achas. We have one bed, large bed, and 3 nashim are sleeping on the bed. Now, it's a long bed, and they're lying along the width of the bed, side by side. Now, 2 ways to get up onto the bed. Okay, so you have a long bed, and they're lying side by side. They could have gone up directly, gone up on the lengthwise side, straight onto their respective positions, or they could have climbed over the narrow side, so each one is sort of climbing over the outer surface. They discover a stain beneath one of these nashim, kulan tmeis. They're all presumed to be tummy, unless you can substantiate the source of the dam. Let's say one isha performs an examination which confirms that she is tummy. So she'll take the blame for all. He tmeis, she's considered tummy. The other ones are tar, because they can sort of attribute it to her. But toiles zubizu, the Gemara explains this to mean that suppose one of these nashim are presumed to be dam free. She's expecting, she's nursing. We don't anticipate dam, so she can attribute the dam to the other woman. Let's say all 3 of them are in the same state of life. They're all not known to have dam. They're all expecting though. So then we're back to square one. Now we view them as if they're all, yes, potentially NIDAH, as though they are expected to see dam. So in a way, the fact that they're all exempt undoes the exemption, because you can't exempt them all, right? Because it came from one of them. So until that's confirmed, so we can identify who's who, they're all tummy. Let's go to the middle case of the Mishnah, where one woman made a bedika, discovers dam. We blame the stain on her. Says Rav, provided that's only true that she did a bedika immediately, in such close proximity to the discovery of that stain, which allows us to link the two. Provided Shabbat Gatman, she checked herself b'shir vest immediately. A couple of seconds later, without any time to delink the 2 experiences. So look at Bar Pada. He goes with Bar Pada's opinion. The Amud tells us. He presents the following formula in terms of timing. Kol shabala b'chatas, any situation where if she discovers dam during her examination, and that examination took place so close, immediately after the husband and wife were together, that confirms that she was already tummy when they were together, and the husband has to bring a chatas on account of that experience. So correspondingly, regarding items that she touched in the last couple of seconds, whatever she touched, tar is tummy, because the discovery of dam so close to the experience confirms that in fact that experience was tummy as well. On the other hand, if it was a bit further in time, bala b'asham tali, if it was a bit later, in which case the husband he has to bring asham tali just in case they were tummy when they were together. So likewise, the items that she had touched in the meantime are sort of in limbo, not sure whether the tummy or tar, bala patur, but let's say it was further down the road, she checked herself later, in which case her husband's totally absolved. So the taharas that she touched all along are tahar as well. So in the first instance, where it was an immediate bedika, just like the husband is obligated to bring a chatas, because that confirms that they were tummy when they were together. Likewise, the taharas that she had touched, right? Let's say she touched something, a banana, and a second or 2 later she made a bedika, she found dam. Just like if there would have been a question of husband and wife chatas, he would bring a chatas, because it's been confirmed retroactively that she was tummy for the last couple of seconds. Likewise, the taharas that he touched prior to discovering the dam are tummy as well. And that explains the halacha in our Mishnah, that if Rachel makes a bdika and discovers dam immediately after discovering the dam on the bed, that confirms that it's her dam and everybody else is off the hook. Rabbi Yoshe Amar says, no. Afilu bala b'chatos taraset luis. Even a very immediate bdika, which theoretically would obligate the husband for a chatas, but if it's concerning matters of taharos, we don't know. Why? The fact is, he discovered the dam a few seconds later. Who says the dam was here 5 seconds ago? And it's very different than the question of the husband. Bishlam husband. Certainly in the case of the husband who was together with her, Amar, you can explain why the dam got a bit delayed, even though it was already there a couple of seconds ago, because physically it was held back. Shamash, the aver of the man, Akvil the dam held it back from coming out, but it was really there. So of course he's obligated to a chatas. But here, if she touched a banana and a couple of seconds later she found the dam, what took so long for the dam to come? If there was dam, then 5 seconds back, who held it back? And therefore, he says, you can't confirm that the banana is tameh. Rashi says you can apply the standard gzera of meis leis. She's tameh with the rabbanon going back, but you can't confirm in HaTorah that she's tameh. So the halacha now Mishnah only follows bar pada, that the immediate discovery of dam confirms there was dam all along. Whereas according to Horatia, it's not necessarily so. So even if the woman discovers dam upon herself, doesn't mean that this stain that came a few seconds ago was hers. Rav Yirmiyah. Let me describe this in a mashal. Mashal Rav Yeshia. Rav Yeshia's distinguishing the halacha regarding the husband versus the halacha regarding taharis. What's it comparable to? You have a young man and an older man walking along the road together. And the young man, is keeping pace with the older man. As long as they're on the road. The young man, holds himself back, restricts himself, and keeps the older man company. Once they get into town, and each one goes his separate way. The young man hurries home. So he picks up speed and does his own thing. Likewise over here, the dam would like to come out, but as long as the shamash is there, it's held up. After which, it flows out. Another example, Mashal Rabbi Yeshua, it's analogous to a case. A person inserts his finger into his eye that holds back the tears. As long as the finger is still there, dimma, the eye tears, shoya lavai. It stops him from coming. Once he removes his finger, his tears come flowing out. So that's all good and well when it comes to the question of the husband. We can assume that the dam was there and being held back temporarily, but in the case of a woman who just merely touched some food and discovered dam a bit later, why would you say the dam was there if you hadn't seen it? There's nothing holding it back. And therefore, we cannot substantiate tumah on the taharis. Okay, so we had halacha in the Mishnah, 3 women on the mita achas, dam discovered amongst them. They're all presumed to be tameh, unless one is boydek and finds tumah, so she takes the blame. However, that only follows Bar Pada's shita, who says if you find the dam so close to the act, we can blame the act we can attribute the dam to the act as well. So here that she found dam so soon after discovering the kesem, we can sort of link the two, whereas Rashi says no. Who's to say that it's the same from the same source? What does that mean they blame on each other? Rachel is expectant, in which case she's not expectant to see dam. You have a non-expectant woman who's anticipated to see dam. She's more likely to see dam. So it's a fair call to blame it on her. Toila Ubra, the Umu Beres, attributes the dam to the other woman, Shena Beres. Another example, Manika, one nursing woman who was not expecting to see dam. Shena Manika, and one who's non-nursing. Toila Manika, Shena Manika, the nursing could blame it on the non-nursing. Zaken Shena Zaken, the older woman with a younger woman. Toila Zaken Shena Zaken, the older can blame it on the younger. Basula Shena Basula, the one who never had dam on a regular woman, and a regular woman. Toila Basula Shena Basula, could blame it on the other one. Hoystein Ubrais, let's say they're both in the same privileged status, both mubaras, shtei manikas, shtei zaken, shtei basulas, zuish. That's what the Mishnah continues and says. Let's say they're all experiencing an exempt status, not expected to see dam. So back to square one. Roy and kila and ruis, we have to view them as ordinary women. They're all tamei unless we can confirm the actual source of the dam. Okay, so let's recap the daf quickly. We have a woman who's being toila a kesem, can do so on a nachris, you can do so on a NIDAH. Regarding NIDAH, we had a shaila. If she's underage, you can't. Regarding a nachris, we had a shaila. If she's underage, you can't blame it on her. If she's of age and has experience seeing dam, certainly you can as well. What about that mid stage? She's of age, but she hadn't yet experienced dam. That was machlokes. Tanna Kama says you can't blame it on her. Rameir says as long as she's of age, you can attribute the kesem to her. What about a full-fledged NIDAH? Yeah. What about shemeres? What about Isha who has dam toyar now? No problem. What if she's a basula again, who's not going to be affected by this dam? No problem. What about a shemeres yom? She saw Sunday, and it's still Sunday. Sure, she's known to have dam today. She's a likely source of dam. Blame it on her. What if it's shemeres yom on Monday, which she hadn't seen dam anymore? That was a machlokes. Shimon Gamliel says you can still attribute it to her because she's still within the same context of tumah. Rebbe says no. The fact is she's not known to have dam today, and therefore you can't use her as an alibi. What about blaming it on a woman who never really had a proper flow, just a kesem? According to Rebbe Loy, the answer is no. What about if one is muberes, one is she'ein muberes, etc.? Then likewise you can blame it on the one who's more likely to see dam. And that takes into discussion about the shalosh nashim on the bed. We found the stain, the all tmeas, unless one is baidik and discovers herself to be tummy, she takes the blame, which is only aligned with the shita Rapada. We also had a discussion regarding Mechemi's halacha, who says that a kesem on something which is tumah free is also considered kesem free. We had 3 levels of that. We had the entity which is totally tumah free, like a stone bench. We added to that even a klicheres, which technically is susceptible to tumah, but it's on the outside. The outside surface is tumah resistant, so it's kesem resistant. And likewise, even something which is full-fledged tumah material, like a piece of material, but if it's too small to facilitate tumah, likewise, it's another example of something which is tumah free and therefore kesem free as well. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.